Is an arbitrage. I am Simon, and this is the young lion, Tayshawn. He will be sitting in today. Unfortunately, Aaron is under the weather, but we're gonna still make this happen. We're here with the big homie, content creator cousin, is that what how we call him? My main man. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Pretty good, bro. Pretty good. Everything's cool here in Arizona. Nice to get on with you guys. Sorry that the wife's sick, bro. Like I was telling you backstage, I got a little something I'm getting over too. So
Mm-hmm.
it be like that.
Yes, it is, man. But we're still gonna chop up some good game, man. And so, for everybody, I would like you to who may most people already know you, but for everybody maybe don't know your whole rundown, if you can just give us a bit of your resume.
For sure, for sure. For those who know me, like King, I'm also from Detroit. Got
Oh,
into the whole investing game about 5 years ago. I was lucky enough to do a show on a channel called Benzinga. I don't know if you ever
yeah.
heard of them, but
Oh
they
yeah.
do stock news. It's pretty random. Like I was on a show talking about something, and I was like, "Hey, you guys should have me on your channel." And the CEO was like, "Yeah, let's set it up." And yeah, I was on there for like 2 years. That was pretty cool. And then I was talking to, I was like in the Gentleman of Crypto chat one day, and he said, King said he was looking for shows for the network.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, let's try to hook that up. And then, here we are, right?
Yeah.
Um, but I started with stock until like the last bull run started. It was around like what, like right after COVID.
Yeah.
And I invested in Cardano at like 3 cents. And I was like, okay, it ran up to $1. And after that, I was done with stocks, bro.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I
I
feel you
was
on that.
completely done with stocks. And I tend to take crypto in a kind of a different direction. I don't like I know you guys have watched the show a couple times. I
Mhm.
like to kind of talk about the esoteric stuff. Um, for all of you, like esoteric is just hidden. It's nothing like really spooky about it.
Mhm.
Um, I tend to see like a lot of like esoteric stuff when it comes to like symbols, when it comes to like gematria and numbers. A lot of that stuff has to do with crypto. And I really just enjoy that.
Do you? Okay.
Um,
Are you big into for the people out there who know into when you said gematria and sacred geometry?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Like if I can share my screen right quick, let me see.
Mm-hmm.
Share screen.
Love to see this. What's up, everyone?
Who's that? Okay. For if you know, you know. Oh, what's up? If you know, you know.
So can you guys see the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
It's moving kind of slow. Sorry about that. Had it pulled up beforehand, but I don't know why it's still spooling here. Okay. Apparently they're working on their screen here.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, sometimes they like to cut this off, I guess, but what I was going to show, oh, here it is. There it goes. Boom. So um, Bitcoin already kind of has a X designation.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at this, it says XBC comes
Okay.
from
Okay.
the International Standards Organization, the ISO Standards Organization. And this is Kraken's website. Also, Bitcoin has, or gold has, an XAU designation,
Yes.
and
Yes.
that's pretty funny because gold on a periodic table is AU, so they threw an X in front of it.
Mm-hmm.
There's also these things called special drawing rights, which is the currency that the international the central banks use between themselves. So the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, calls it XDR, and
Mm.
this is coming up slowly as well. So what you're going to see in this little article is SDR, but they also refer to it as XDR.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. So if I just go over to, I have a little gematria calculator here that's slowly coming up here.
No, we
Let me know if you got.
No, we can still hear you.
Okay. So I don't know. Are you guys familiar with gematria?
Yes, I am. I'm familiar with it. Yes, I am. I'm familiar with it. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't know if your audience is, so I'll just tell them. So gematria, guys, a lot of people think it's kind of like hogwash, but if you guys don't know, I'm a programmer. I graduated from Michigan State, and good old Spartan. So with programming, you'll put in some words that the computer understands, and the compiler will basically make those words into zeros and ones, which is binary code. So in that instance, we see an example where words go straight to numbers. We see numbers forming charts when we look at all the Bitcoin charts and various charts. So we have various instances where gematria is actually a thing, right? So what I showed you guys before was XDR, special drawing rights. We also looked at XBT, which is the ISO organization's designation for Bitcoin. And we also looked at XAU, which is the IMF's designation for gold. So what we'll go down and notice is in these four gematria ciphers, they all equal, right? And they could have chosen any letters for these, but they chose things that equal, right? Except for this 19, and we all know 1 plus 9 is 10. So they all equal. And for me, what this says is that they think of gold, Bitcoin, and this special drawing rights all as the same thing. And when I say they, I mean like the elite, the people that run Davos, WEF, those type of people.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this is very interesting. So when did you get into this?
Well, man, let's see. Well, one of the things I like to listen to, like certain type of conspiracy, quote unquote, truther shows, right? And one of the things I always noticed was a lot of things with crypto came up. A lot of different shapes, like you said, sacred geometry. A lot of those shapes came up with crypto. And I'm like, okay, why are they using this? What's going on here? And the more and more I noticed, that there was some link there. Like for instance, we all know the god Saturn, right? Bitcoin has a lot of Saturn references to it because they have 21 million coins. That's a reference to Saturn. And we all, if you watch like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, 42 is like what did they say? Like the answer to life or whatever. So a lot of that stuff with the god Saturn is wrapped up into Bitcoin. So yeah, it's really interesting when you break it down, and then the whole story of money. When you look at like what the Templars did, uh, um, I don't know if you guys ever got into that, but it's like basically the Templars realized back in the day, right? What they were like, what they did was they said, okay, hey, instead of going and taking your money and taking a carriage and trying to go to the next city, if you leave your money here with us, what we'll do is we'll give you this note. This note is just as good as money. So when you get to the, huh?
I'm sorry, just for the people you speaking of the Templar Knights?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So they were like, okay, when you get to the next town, you can take this note and you can give it to our Templars on the any other town, and they'll give you your money back. So this note is just as good as money. And what they realized was only like, I think the stat was like 9 out of 10 or 7 out of 10 people ever came back for their money. They just traded the notes around. And according to history, that is how we got money. So that's literally kind of what our Federal Reserve does, what banks do. They keep the money and they even like loan out the money, but they have like, well, currently there's no reserve. Like I think before Trump, you had like a 10% reserve that banks had to keep, but there's literally no reserve now. So it's just like literally our money is just like an IOU. It's just a promissory note. But back in the day, what the Templars figured out is they could collect everybody's gold, give them a little promissory note, i.e., like dollars or whatever, and then they could control the real asset, which is the gold.
And that's funny that you say that because I had just finished reading a book by Lynn Alden called Broken Money, and she spoke extensively about the Templar, how you trade your note and then go to, like you said, across a place and then trade it in. And so, yeah, Lynn Alden, she really broke that down, and that's a really good book for the people out there. It's called Broken Money. And yeah, like you said, that was the start of, as they call, fiat currency.
Yeah, man, and it just always seemed to relate to me, and like when you really break it down, you even see some of the sacred geometry shapes in a lot of these different cryptos they use. Let me see if I can think of any off the top of my head. It's just a shame my computer's moving so slowly right now. Proton. Okay, Proton crypto. Let me show the logo for that. There are a lot of 6-pointed stars, like the Star of David logos. There are a lot of 666 logos, unfortunately. So that makes you wonder. Like a lot of sacred geometry in a lot of these shapes. Let me see if I can bring up this again. Share. If this will be not too slow here. So you can see in this one, right, where they got the 6-pointed star.
Yes. Oh, with the proton, yeah.
And then if we look at Block Bank, crypto logo. You can see it right here. There's 1-6 right here, the white 6 right here, and the 6 right here. So clearly people were saying kind of, where their alliances are. But we could get totally deep with this, but that's I really like to combine crypto and these different principles. This also the Pyth crypto. They have this like virtually the same logo, but yeah.
Okay,
So
that's interesting.
it is. It's very, very interesting. Sorry about that. And to like kind of move it into application, there's this guy. His name is WD Gann. He does a lot of different astrology things as far as like charts go.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he's a 32nd or 33rd degree Mason,
Uh-huh.
and he applies all that different astrology knowledge to crypto charts.
Oh,
Um, so he has one chart he calls like the square of nine, and this has a lot of astrology and Masonic crap attached to it. But when you look at it, this is also applied to his GAN fan. Um, I like to use that tool if I can bring up my chart here. I like to use that tool when it comes to looking at crypto charts. There's this thing called the GAN fan. I
mm-hmm.
don't know if I have it on this chart that I'm going to bring up here. I can enable it really quickly. But um, it might sound roundabout, but all of that, all of that info connects in that the same kind of people who run the Masons are the same kind of people who like the Saturn type of worship and the 666 stuff, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, no, most definitely.
Those are the same kind of people. So all of it kind of interconnects there. Um, trying to be kind of careful how I say that. Let me see here. I will get rid of this indicator right quick, and we'll bring up the GAN fan. So what you notice with this GAN fan is it does a pretty good job of showing resistances over time. And you'll see
Mm-hmm.
that like Bitcoin kind of hits up against this resistance right here,
Yep.
this blue resistance. And this is the week chart, but it happens over like smaller time frames as well, like this red one here. And it's just pretty interesting how all that stuff connects. One would think that it doesn't connect, but it does for me. And
That-
when I approach crypto, a lot of times I try to approach it from that angle. Um,
Okay.
yeah.
So when you do, because this looks similar, do you use as an overlay? Do you ever use Fibonacci?
Yes, this is based a lot off of Fibonacci,
Okay.
um,
It
and
looks
the
very
golden.
similar as you had
Yes,
it there. It's very similar.
yes, it's very similar to the Fibonacci. In fact, I think in this particular chart they do have like you can see where they have one half,
Yeah.
one third. Those are Fibonacci ratios.
Mm.
Excuse me. So saying again, the same people that have that like the 666 type of stuff, that like the Saturn worship type of stuff. That kind of brings us back to the World Economic Forum.
Mm-hmm.
um, those people kind of like that stuff as well. um, and when I do a lot of my stock crypto research, um, I like to look at things that certain VCs are looking at. So
Okay.
if we look at this is a cool tool called Crypto Rank. Crypto Rank. So the cool thing that I like about this tool is it'll tell you kind of right off the bat which cryptos have VC backing, like VC backing behind it. So like
Yep.
the Coinbase Ventures, the Andreessen Horowitz, all of those guys that would be kind of World Economic Forum kind of
Mm-hmm.
connected people. Um, bring up one reference, the crypto say.
Mm-hmm.
So towards the middle of the page here, it'll show you funds and backers. And this particular crypto has Circle, which they're connected to the World Economic Forum. Their CEOs connected to them. Coinbase Ventures, Coinbase is connected via like BlackRock, which
Yep.
I believe BlackRock does. Um, Coinbase holds BlackRock's ETF coins. Um, so I kind of like to invest in cryptos that have this big VC backing because every crypto bull run, it seems like these cryptos do the best.
Mm. And just for the people out there, VCs, venture capitalists, some people
Hmm.
was asking, but yes, venture capital backing. And so I got two questions for you.
Sure.
Two questions. So one question is, for a lot of people I talk to, because I watch a show on a regular basis, and I noticed that you're heavy into technical analysis. A
Oh
lot
yeah.
of people who I talk to, they're not familiar with technical analysis or they're not good with it. How important is being familiar with technical analysis and investing into crypto?
Um, I would say it's pretty big. Oh, did I change the view to this? I'm sorry. Um, I'd say technical analysis is pretty important, but
Mm,
um, I would say finding where the money is going is more important. Like if you can if you can find like what's VC backed by, for example,
okay.
the money is going to tend to be where follow the phrase follow the money.
Yep.
um that just tends to be where everything is at. But if I were to offer a couple of like um crypto like analysis tips,
Hmm.
let me see if I can go back to that view. um Oops. Okay, there we go. um so the things that I like to use most
So you can see it better.
Yeah,
are
people.
moon cycles. So if you
Mm-hmm.
go on what is this trading view, it's called Insilo's Four Seasons. You can notice like with the full moons, it tends to like be a time where things tend to be bullish after a full moon. If you can see that,
Mm-hmm.
and it's pretty crazy. It's like um, people never really talk about this, but it just tends to work. Things tend to be really like bullish with Bitcoin after a full moon. Why that is, I have no idea. But that's kind of what it is. Um, Another thing that you can look at, which let's turn off the GAN fan and the moons, is what's called the Golden Cross.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that tends to be when the 50 EMA crosses the 200 EMA.
Yes,
So,
indeed.
yep. So I like that a lot. But even better is when the 8 EMA crosses the 50. Sometimes you can get a earlier jump on it. And see, you probably already know this stuff. I'm just saying it for the audience.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let's go to LCX, for instance. Like, for example, LCX has just been on a run, as you can see. Um, this crypto is actually a member of the World Economic Forum.
Mm.
Um, I'm not sure. Have you ever heard of LCX?
Yes, I've heard people talking about it.
So let's see if we can. Um, Let me see if I can. Okay, here we go. Nope, that's not what I wanted to look at. Okay, let's bring up LinkedIn right quick. Excuse me. So, so LCX. Sorry, kind of jumping topics a little bit. LCX. So if we go to their CEO's LinkedIn, which is taking a little while to come up. You'll find that they're a member of the World Economic Forum. So this is their CEO, Monty Metzger, and if we go down on his profile, you'll see member. It's kind of lower down here. Member World Economic Forum. LCX joins the World Economic Forum here, and this was January 15th, 2019. So this has been one that I've been talking about for years. Because if you look, they have certain licenses that other exchanges don't have. So it's just a really, really, really big history on LCX in my channel. If you guys aren't familiar, audience, you guys can go over and check it. Check my channel, www.darkhorsewatcher.com or YouTube at BlacRue. I have tons of videos on LCX.
Okay.
All the different licenses they have. But this is another instance in just like kind of following the money and being in things that are kind of World Economic Forum backed. Like regardless of like, I don't have a very great worldview about the World Economic Forum, but as far as being like the money, these guys are the money. So
if in that vein, when you say follow the money, one of the things we talk about in the show a lot is the things that go on with BRICS nations and the way that they
yeah.
usurp the U.S. dollar, and they have their own thing going on in that. How about following that money in the BRICS nations and where they just signed? I see they signed Saudi Arabia, maybe, maybe not. It's kind of back and forth. But what do you think about that?
I totally think that's a way to go. Um, it seems like BRICS nations are up. Based off history, they always say that currencies have like a 60 to 100-year shelf life.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
The U.S. dollar is kind of coming up on that time limit right now, and I know like the news tries to tell us like it's like BRICS versus G7, but to me, it's just like World Economic Forum controlling all. Like so, to me, it's like they already know that the dollar is on its way out, so they're already gearing up for BRICS to be the next thing. Even though they market it to us like it's BRICS versus G7, it's like, okay, we know that change is going to happen, so it's going to happen.
And
That's how I feel about it.
I said that's when you said follow the money. But another thing we had talked about, I didn't know what you thought about this, is that the moves that I would say China specifically, in regard to BRICS nations, the moves they make
Yes.
to usurp the dollar, I call them acts of war, right? And war doesn't always have to be boots on the ground, and fighting, man to man, mano a mano, but I feel like China is making acts of war to try to take over, and once they get rid of the currency, because if you're trying to get rid of a whole country's currency, that's an act of war. What do you think about that?
Well, I think China's been like mining Bitcoin since like heavy since like 2017.
Mm-hmm.
one of the shows I had recently was like the Bitcoin ETFs. Are we surprised? And I was shocked when I went and looked like and saw that the Chinese were mining since like 2017. Um, I was shocked when I saw that like the New York Stock Exchange were investors in Coinbase. Like, because all the mainstream media kind of markets it to us like crypto's the scam, it's never going to be, it was pet rock type of deal. But the whole time, if the New York Stock Exchange is investing in Coinbase, obviously they're going to be something, right? So, like, if China's been mining since 2017, like they obviously must know something's going on with Bitcoin. So, I think all of these different entities knew that something was up with Bitcoin. Like, um, recently the news came out that like not so recently, like 6 months ago or whatever, that Bhutan was secretly mining Bitcoin and nobody knew about it. So so basically I can foresee a world where Bitcoin is reserve currency. Excuse me. And I know you guys had Trek with 2Ks on, and
Yeah.
I know he was talking about China, and recently some news came out like in the last 2 days is that the Chinese ETFs are coming. So for me, I think it's like globally, I think everyone knows that Bitcoin and crypto is kind of next up, so to speak.
And when you say that now, so roll over and talk about El Salvador, where they made an actual legal tender, and we spent some time in El Salvador checking it out, seeing how it was, how people
Yeah.
felt about it, and everything. Is that a move you would see a lot of nations going to, just making it Bitcoin legal tender?
Well,
And
it depends on to me. It depends on how much um, they want to kind of like. Excuse me. I feel like the whole thing about crypto being a scam is a game, and they kind of have to continue to play that game until they can actually kind of flip the switch. And I feel like, there are things that they have to do legally and almost like spiritually too.
okay,
I know people like may not have a certain belief, but like no matter who you pray to, like if you go to court, they have to abide by natural law, and that's God's law.
right,
So, they say that there's a separation of church and state, but yet courts have to abide by natural law. They
right.
have to. So, that says something there. Um, oh my God, what was the question? I got
Wait, okay.
distracted.
I have a question. I actually have a question. So you
Sure,
said
sure.
they have to continue playing the game until they flip the switch. When you say flip the switch, does that mean till they can profit off of it as well?
Uh, I think till they can say like, okay, everything's in place, the infrastructure, um, the payment systems, the legal side, and I think one of the things like I love that you guys' show showed with El Salvador is the infrastructure is just not in place yet. Like,
No.
like you guys are like nobody knows how to use QR codes down here. Like nothing, So I think they're getting the infrastructure in place first, and they're also having like I think China said 10 of their companies were going to have ETFs. So just like the Templars of old, how they were gathering gold, all of these companies are going to gather up the Bitcoin until okay, boom, now everything's in place. We got all the Bitcoin. We have it in, like, we got all the infrastructure in place. Now, switch flipped. And I think there's certain steps that they have to take legally and spiritually, and they cannot do it all at once. They have to do it gradually. Like, like we see with certain things, like as far as like our rights, right? It's like, okay, at first you could get on the airplane you didn't have to pay for, bags or whatever. And now, like, gradually you're paying for bags. You don't get any like food. The seats are tight. You're going to TSA, it takes 2 hours, you know what I mean? So like gradually they're going to continue to say, okay, maybe this is a new asset class, blah, 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 until like, 10 or 15 years down the line, we look, okay, there's all these crypto payment systems that people are using. They're using it through PayPal, they're using it through Cash App. You're like sending somebody something over X, like some crypto over X. And I think that's what we're waiting for kind of there.
Okay. And so can you tell me a little bit about this? I was talking to somebody recently about, the difference between Bitcoin and the other cryptocurrencies. And, he stated to me that Bitcoin is seen as a commodity, whereas the some of the other larger cryptocurrencies are not recognized as commodities. Can you give us a breakdown on that and how people can see that when they're trying to see what they're going to invest in?
Yes. Well, I think we did it a little bit there with the gematria, how the numbers of Bitcoin matched up with gold as far as
Yeah.
like an ISO designation. To me,
Hmm.
that says they think of Bitcoin just like digital gold.
Right. Hmm.
So, so to me, 100% Bitcoin digital gold. And when you really think about it, like there's always gold being mined. Um, you know, so there's way more than 21 million gold, right?
Yeah.
So in my mind, Bitcoin's better than digital gold, but
Oh.
we can also look and see like things
And
like
for the record,
possibly.
I want to say this: I have stated that Bitcoin was digital gold, and I've been beaten down for saying that. But so I'm glad that you, yeah, reaffirmed that.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And there it it even goes deeper for me. Again, like I'm on a conspiracy tip, guys. Like I know a lot of people don't believe in that, and it's like tinfoil hat. But I made a show on my conspiracy channel called "Money Is Sacrifice," and um, there's a lot of comparisons of gold to Bitcoin. Um, so I'll give you a little bit of that show. Like, um, okay, so money, right? Money is sacrifice. And we can just clearly say that because, like, wherever you work, right? Say you're hourly, right? So you're giving up an hour of your life for X money. That's a sacrifice.
Mhm.
That's just clearly what it is. Like an hour of your time is worth $15 or whatever, right? So that is a hour time that you're sacrificing for money.
Right.
Um, so there we have work. An hour of work is worth X amount of money, right? And let's just say that money was actually backed by gold, which it isn't anymore. But essentially, that would say an hour of your time was worth X amount of gold. So
Okay.
what happens with how do you get gold? You mine it, right? What do they say when you mine Bitcoin? What do they call it?
You talking about the proof of work?
Exactly. They call
Mm-hmm.
it proof of work.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly, whoever set up Bitcoin, they truly understood the esoteric as well, right? And remember,
Oh,
I said Bitcoin relates a lot to the god Saturn, right? Who is
so
Saturn?
let me ask you a question right there. I didn't want to cut your wisdom. Let me ask you a question.
Sure,
If everybody's familiar with Max Kaiser, but a long time ago, Max Kaiser said something, and I thought was very interesting. He said
sure.
Bitcoin wasn't discovered. Bitcoin was discovered. It wasn't invented, is what he's saying. I'm sorry. So he's saying Bitcoin always existed. Somebody just discovered it, as opposed to the people who try to say somebody invented it. What do you think about that?
I think I like that. I like that.
Okay.
It's the same. It's the same formula as regular money, if you thought of it, quote unquote, as a spell, it's the same formula. So, like we were saying, like with Saturn, who's the god Saturn?
I don't know.
He's also known as the god Kronos, right?
Oh, he's Chronos. So he's Chronos. Okay.
Which is the god of time.
Mm-hmm.
So, and what did we just say? An hour. So if you were working hourly for $15, your time is now sacrificed for that money. So it goes right in line, right? And I don't know if people have seen the Ouroboros before. The snake eating its tail. So life and death. That's that's literally it. Life and death is sacrifice. And like it or not, when we eat, we're something's dead that we're eating, whether it's a plant or it's meat. We're eating something dead to make ourselves alive, or so we keep living. So it's the same formula. It's the same formula. So when Max says that it was that it was like kind of always there, I get it. I get it. It's that same formula except put into digital form.
Okay, so I have a question. What makes you like at this? I feel like this is a different, mindset.
Yep.
What made you come to the realization that it's all connected to spirituality? Like this is all connected.
I read a particular book. It's called Money Grows. Oh, God, let me see if I can find the title. It's Money Grows in the Tree of the Garden of Good and Evil or something like that, by Tracy Twyman. Tracy Twyman has an interesting story. People should look into it or watch or listen to my podcast on it. I won't mention it on here. But yeah, I won't mention it here. It's just like that. But kind of, yeah, for real. People should look into it and look into a actor called Isaac Cappy, and they will understand after they do that.
I think I know who that is too, and I don't want to ask to give no clarification. But I think I seen that before him.
Yeah. So if they look into it, that's a whole big wormhole. But let's see here. Yeah, let me see. So yeah, if you guys look into her book, I think it's like Money in the Garden of Good and Evil. Oh God, let me see here.
That's interesting. Okay,
I'm gonna find the exact title. Just give me a second here. And her book goes over all of what we were kind of just talking about, like how the Templars invented money, the god Kronos, and all of that, and kind of like alchemically how money kind of came into being, right? And it's all these kind of secret societies running the same magic that they've known how to use for ages, right? And they created a system like the Templar system, which they could control the underlying asset and just give you a derivative. Like, what are we seeing right now? All of these derivatives on Ethereum, right? Like layer 2, layer 3, layer 4, same freaking formula, right? And the same thing is popping up with Bitcoin. You now got all these Bitcoin side chains, these Bitcoin layer 2s. They're doing the same thing over and over again, same playbook. Nothing's changed, right?
So let me ask you, because I like the game you're giving with the gematria, sacred geometry, the metaphysical part of Bitcoin, and all this. So when I try to explain Bitcoin, I try to explain on a base level. So how much pushback do you get for trying to take it to this level and explaining to people what Bitcoin is?
I don't know. People don't push back. Surprisingly, I don't know if there's like, I don't know why people don't push back when I say certain stuff like that, but it's like I show them the chart and I show them the history of stuff. So it's like I can kind of see it. So I don't know. People don't. I'm surprised. People, I should get way more pushback than I get, but no one outwardly pushes back on me. I don't know. Maybe they'll just be like, "Okay, I'm just changing the channel," but nobody just says, "You know what? This is bullcrap," or like says some comments in there, and I have to like debate them. I don't know why, but they don't.
You know.
It's hard to debate spirituality.
Yeah, but I mean the way that you tied it into spirituality and it is great because that's what I think about it. But I
You
just tell
can't say.
people I just tell people the base level stuff because somebody's gonna always ask you what is Bitcoin. Like that's
Right.
gonna be that first question you get, and so you got to explain it, at a base level, and
I
then
finally found it. It's Tracy Twyman's "Money Grows on the Tree of Good and Evil."
uh-oh, that sounds like
Tracy
a good
Twyman.
title.
Yeah, it is a book. Okay, it's a book. Um, Not like you got to be pretty grown up to read that book. You know what I'm saying? Because she gets into things like we just talked about sacrifice, and she gets into the gory details of it. So just FYI.
So I do have a question about the Chronos. So you said it's sacrifice. Is it a sacrifice for Chronos?
Um, that gets a little bit murky because she
Okay.
starts to talk about Kronos and how Kronos ate his children, and that gets a little bit murky because you get people brought up like Moloch,
Well,
and I don't know if you guys know about Moloch
yeah.
and 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 some of these things that certain people like Epstein and others have been guilty of, right?
Yeah, of course.
So it gets real deep when you
Okay. So you
put it
think
into that level.
all of that is connected to, like, all of that's connected to everything. Spirituality is everything.
Yes. So
Okay.
so it gets really, it can get really deep when you look like real deep into that. And yes, I do think that's all connected to it.
Okay.
Um, yeah, 100%.
So me, I'm big into science and stuff like that. So when you talk about sacrificing your time for money, I like to talk about space time. Which is there's four dimensions,
Yeah.
and space time is a fourth dimension. But talking about Bitcoin, you were supposed to lock up your energy that you used to earn this money so that it can grow and move across space and time, and you can unlock that energy at a later time and date. Is that something that you see with the, you know, using your time for money?
Well, um, I'm not sure. Like, I'm not sure how to put that into words, but like I can see just money specifically being related to um, time. Um,
Mhm.
like now, the generation of money out of nothing and what that costs the people that can generate money out of nothing. That part I couldn't quite say because I
Okay.
do believe there's a balance and there's an equation, and this gets into things like the seven hermetic principles or the seven principles of Tahuti. I don't know if you studied those or not.
Yeah, shout out to the Kabbalion. If you guys
Kabbalion.
haven't
There
read
we
that book,
go. There
you
you
gotta go
go.
read that book.
Do you
It's
do
only
on
about
that?
55 pages, so y'all check the Kabbalion out, man. It's
Right.
deep, like you said, seven hermetic principles.
I don't even know all
Right. And all of that gets into like the principle of rhythm, the principle of
Mhm.
polarity, the principle of vibration. Like all of
Yep.
that kind of gets into, okay, time is money and everything is a thought. So it's like, okay, smarter, not harder kind of deal with
Yeah.
Bitcoin for me.
Right. So with that being said, smarter not harder. We talked to Bitcoin Zay about a week ago, and he was telling us about all these ways you can earn Bitcoin by just doing things that you would do anyway, as far as gaming, shopping,
Yep.
My wife, she does the walking, getting your steps in, and just earning Bitcoin by your own energy or your own things, your thoughts that you would be doing, and getting satoshis. Is that a good idea? You think?
Oh yeah, any way you can get like free Bitcoin, I'm about that life. I use Lolly a lot. Um,
Hmm.
and I don't know if your users know about Lolly, but Lolly, you can use it and get like little daily Bitcoin rewards, but
Yeah.
also it'll give you like a certain percentage back. Like for example, they used to have Walmart on there. Um, like Walmart, if you go to Walmart, you get like 3% back off your purchase, and it's kind of like that whole gas card principle. Like where if
Yeah.
you put some money on a gas card, they'll give you a certain percentage back. It's that same principle applied to Bitcoin, you know.
Uh,
So,
yeah, that's yeah, that's
yeah,
that's dope. Cause I mean, I found little ways, but then he added on and told us some different things you can do. And like I said, I'm not a gamer. I don't play games, but I have children. They play games and say, hey, why don't you try this game and you earn stuff back? And they tell me about how they earn different coins and things like that. So it's definitely a great option, and we're going to talk about it more and more just to make sure that people, get into that. What I was going to ask you, I forgot to ask you earlier because like, I'm going to circle it back around. So there's the thing out here that people are quote unquote Bitcoin maximalists, and
yeah.
then there's not. I feel like you're not a Bitcoin maximalist, but what do you think about people being Bitcoin maximalists and then people who just are into cryptocurrency in general?
Man, like I can totally understand where Bitcoin maxis are coming from. Um, but like sometimes the better trade, like let me share this. Like we were sharing LCX earlier, right? Like
Yeah.
from November 23rd to now, this went from
And
like
a
4
year.
cents all the way to 32 cents, right?
Dang.
So in that time, that's like what, like an 8x that you can have. Like, so in that same time, holding Bitcoin, you would have only had 30 to 37 to 40 something. So in that time, you would only have like a 33% gain. Whereas if you held LCX, you would have an 8x. Um,
Yeah.
so all coins can tend to be the better trade. And it's like, okay, then you can move that money to Bitcoin because I do
Right.
believe in Bitcoin long term. Like I said, I do believe it's better than digital gold, and I do think at some point, like very soon, we'll have like $1 million Bitcoin. But for right now, if you're someone trying to make the best advantage of your money and get the best gains you can have, I would say investing in good altcoins is the way. And just like I said, like right now, like I'm not saying go out there and get like baby Dookie Inu, Elon Inu, right? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not saying go out there and invest in like poop coins. Like try to invest in really good coins like we were saying with say, right? Where is that at? Coins that have like big backers behind them. Um
Yeah. The
and
VCs.
right. If you're like an experienced trader, like maybe you can figure out how to get into a meme coin and get out right quick. But you're not trying to diamond hands a meme coin. But if you're new, if you're new, you might just want to go with things that are VC backed. Um,
We gotta address some of the people in the chat. I guess Jake Fever is out here. He's heavy in the chat. He says, "I believe in Jesus Christ, and I don't know if y'all study the Bible and the Ten Commandments." I said, "Well, okay." And he also says, "I don't be understanding them charts to push back on you." I know,
You know I like
but
to debate,
I like he likes to debate.
but he doesn't
So that's
understand.
Jake Fever. Jake Fever's heavy in the chat room. So shout out to Jake Fever.
I do have a question though. So
Sure.
if if you're selling other Bitcoin, I mean, if you're selling other altcoins to eventually put into Bitcoin because you believe in Bitcoin long term, does that not? Would you not consider yourself a Bitcoin maximalist?
I wouldn't, because most Bitcoin maximalists are like,
Bitcoin.
everything else is a crap coin.
Yeah.
Just buy Bitcoin and wait. Um,
No.
Okay, there you go.
But if you,
so so
okay.
that's not my philosophy. My philosophy is kind of like take advantage of bull run while the bull run now you can, and maybe move your profits to Bitcoin. Um, know know what Bitcoin is going to be, but take advantage of all coins when it
Okay.
all possible. That's kind of
Okay, so
I would still consider that.
so when you talk about that, people like maybe you would go to in a professional setting, professional level, financial management people will talk a lot about protecting, protecting your capital, protecting your assets. So what you're saying is you can take some money, make some money, move it into Bitcoin, and it's protected there.
But that's how you maximize your Bitcoin.
well, I say like um pretty soon we're gonna have like all coins are gonna kind of rage in unison with Bitcoin. Um,
Mhm.
and in that, if you pick the right altcoins, you can have like a 5x to 10x on those altcoins,
Yeah.
whereas Bitcoin might 1x or 2x. But with the altcoins, you'll have a better X, you'll have a better
Okay.
multiplier, and
Hmm.
that money you can use to invest in Bitcoin. So if,
But you believe
go ahead.
Bitcoin is safer.
Um, I believe Bitcoin's going to be the biggest thing long term.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, and for my people out there, just we did the military and stuff like that. I've been a government worker my entire life, and people are coming out of this, and they're retiring, and they had this capital, and they want to know where to put it, how to allocate it. And we all know you have to do the risk assessment because you may be a certain age, you can't really take risky investments, and you got to take your money and try to put it somewhere safer to get you, as they say, to the end of life. What do you think about that? As people who are older and maybe can't take those risks.
See, I'm glad you said that, Simon. So, for people who are kind of like that, who are like kind of old school, like I would say to them, like, okay, let me tell you, let me show you this. Let me show you this. So, I like these ISO 2002 coins. I'm sure you heard of those before.
Yeah, shout out to the chief. He tells us about those ad nauseum, but nah. But shout out to the chief, man. That's my friend. ISO 2022 coins. I
So
know all about them.
So basically, like in a nutshell, these ISO 2002 coins are all the World Economic Forum's coins. If you wanna just be like real quick with it, like not understanding anything about ISO 2002, not understanding anything about ISO coins, these are the World Economic Forum's coins. All of them.
It's never that.
Okay. So if you're a person that's saying like, okay, I'm I'm a person who likes the stock market. Well, all of these ISO 2002 coins are backed by the stock market people. For instance, let's look at Hedera, right? And I know you mentioned Hedera on your show before.
There,
I'm
yeah.
not sure if you guys have gone to their website though before. Um, so I want people to see this. So Hedera is governed, and they used to say owned, but they got rid of that word. But
Okay.
you can say that they're governed and owned by. So let's look at this list of companies here: Dell, Boeing, T-Mobile,
Mm.
um,
Oh,
Google, IBM, LG.
yeah. Google's crazy.
So we got about 6 Fortune 500 companies there, right?
Yeah.
At least with LG, IBM, Google, T-Mobile, Dell's in here somewhere too. Dell,
Yeah,
Boeing,
Dell.
like that's like 5 or 6 Fortune 500 companies. So
Yeah. Yeah,
if
that's
you
real.
know
And
that, I'm sorry.
no, you go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So if you know that this is already owned and governed by 6 Fortune 500 companies, wouldn't you say that this is probably a safe investment?
No, okay, that's true.
And for the people I was gonna tell, we spoke on this not extensively, but I don't know if you're familiar with Mike Maloney. He's the CEO of GoldandSilver.com, but he did a series called The History of Money, and
Hmm.
back in 2013, 2014, I believe, and he mentioned Hedera. And when I watched it, I didn't really know, and then when I seen it come back around, I said, "Wow, he was already on top of the game." And
Yeah.
he's a gold guy, but he still was on top of the game. Like you said, he could see what was coming.
Right, exactly. And even that early, that this was already happening with things like Hedera. And
Yeah.
there are rumors that the World Economic Forum actually spoke about Chainlink before it was even a company. So
Mm.
that's another one there. But and there's some other international companies here, like Shinhan Bank is like really big in Korea. Wipro is big in India. Like, so this is a world owned and governed company. Now, just leave that there and we go on to Stellar, right? Stellar's XLM. I could show you that Stellar.
What do you say? Uh, come on, Jake. I've been trying to get Jake Fever to come on and keep up. Come on,
Jake's probably giving it to me over there, man. I love it though. I love it though.
he says,
I'm okay with that.
he's,
Oh, FTX was backed by some real credible folks, so was Luna. Yeah, that's true.
But see,
okay,
FTX was the scam. Like, it was a
yeah,
purposeful scam. So people are like, okay,
purposeful.
I'm not going to invest in that, right? But when you look at FTX, people blame like quote unquote Democrats, but he like, and by the way, I hate both sides equally, both red
Right.
and blue. Okay,
We do
so
the same.
just so people know that.
Yeah, do the same.
But Sam Bankman-Fried gave to both sides, and I know they have all these stories like Shaq is ducking lawyers because of the whole FTX scandal. Does Shaq,
Right.
Tom Brady, do any of these people look like they're losing sleep over the quote unquote money they lost?
That's a good
Uh,
question.
yeah,
Because
they
to
still out
me,
on what they do.
I think it was like this. This is not. I have no proof of this. This is just my thought. Okay, just putting
Right,
that out there.
right.
Hey Shaq, how about we give you $300 million and you invest 200 million of it in FTX? You see what I'm saying? Like, how
Yeah.
about Shaq? We give you 300 million and you invest 200 million in FTX. Okay, wink, nod, sign the NDA, right? Like,
Mm.
that's what I
Okay.
think happened. That's what I think
So,
happened.
so,
And from the
okay.
start, from the jump, right? They knew that they were going to make this. They knew from the jump it was going to be a prop. Like, they knew from the jump it was going to be a front, if you will, right?
So let me say this to you, man. I've been sitting here for listening to you, man. You've been dropping a lot of good game across all facets, and we're gonna have to get deeper into some things because it's just not enough time in one show. So what I want to do is, with next show, we're gonna go into the 7 hermetic principles and how that
Let's do
relates to
it.
Bitcoin. I want to do that because when you brought that up, I said, man, that's what we need to do. And yeah, we got to do that, man. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to keep you this long. I want you to,
that's okay, brother.
shout
Can
out.
I just hit them with these two last things?
You
If you
go
don't.
ahead, man. Knock them out. Knock it out the park.
And just on that FTX tip, since Jake brought it up, just one more thing. This is how we know it was an inside job, right? That this was all a show. They said CZ, right, was taking out his competitor or whatever. And then they always make this stuff up that CZ is like the problem, right? He's actually Canadian, but he's Chinese, though, right? Background.
Okay.
Okay.
But he was an investor in FTX. So, you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to have this guy because supposedly CZ is this, like, everybody knows that he's the scam artist, blah, 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 blah. But you allowed this scam artist to invest in your company. Are you going to have your worst enemy investing in one of your companies, Simon?
No.
No.
No. Well, no, but in the old saying of keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer.
Not invested.
I don't know, but you tell me. Tell me more.
Man, so for me, it's like, okay, CZ, it's your time now to go ahead and do what you need to do to FTX because it's time for this thing to fail like we always planned. You know, that's what that's what I think there. Because obviously you're not gonna have your worst enemy, this shady guy investing in your company. So obviously that's your friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I think about that.
Yeah, that's something we can go into also.
Yeah, that would be something we.
Yeah, because I mean, I go way back. I don't know why I go deep into like the mafia culture and stuff like that, but yeah, they used to get into kind of stuff like that, dealing with their enemies and investments, but if you didn't keep your word, then you're gonna get, what's gonna happen to you. As the young kids tell me, you're gonna get unalived.
Yeah, because you can't say the word, right?
Unalived out here if you don't do what you're supposed to do.
Because you can't say the word.
Right.
Yeah. That's the young kids, man. They teach me a lot. They keep me young. But man, I didn't mean to keep you too long. So I'm gonna build this show on the 7 hermetic principles, and we're gonna go a deep dive
Into spirituality.
In that way, we can just focus straight on that. I just wanted to come and chop it up with you, because you the homie. You on the we call it. Aaron calls it she calls it the cousins. We cousins.
Yeah, I like that. I like
cousins,
that.
brother. We cousins. So we you two cousins, man. But go ahead and tell them everywhere, because I know you got other sites
Platforms,
and platforms. Go ahead and tell everybody your sites and platforms. So they
Yeah,
can
you guys could follow me at www.darkhorsewatcher.com. It's right above me here. Or you can also say YouTube at BlacRue. I do have the Crypto and Conspiracy channel, which you can find on Apple and Google Podcasts. I haven't posted anything on that in like a year. But if you guys want to kind of get into that side, I do have a Telegram, and we do have a quote unquote conspiracy topic in our Telegram. So we can talk that all day on the Telegram. It's completely free to join. But I will have some things on the Crypto and Conspiracy channel. In the next month, I am endeavoring into doing things on that channel. But
bring us on. I'm big into conspiracy. He's big into conspiracy. We'll come on there and we'll chop it up and talk about all kind of stuff.
Yeah, we can learn.
Hey, bro, yeah, we might have to do that because it might be extra motivation to have me actually do something on that channel.
Okay. Well, man, it was good talking to you, man. You broke down some good game, man. We learned some stuff, and I'm already putting together in my mind what we're gonna talk about on the next show. So I'm gonna be in contact with you so we can chop it up and go a deep dive on these 7 hermetic principles. Crypto cousin.
I appreciate it, brothers. Thank you guys for having me. I'll be watching y'all show later. So thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
All right.